Hello YouTube, and welcome back to my channel, Kopitar here, to speak on depth in a gacha game and whether gacha for Genshin and wuwa are different or not. Alright, first of all, we should look at the main part of combat, and you'll see in the background here too the game's going. They'll be going kind of alternating, and you can just watch while I explain how we play here. So for Genshin, you get 3 buttons basically: EQ and then ultimate, like alt the number of the character if you want to quick swap. Okay, that's it. And then basic attack, and like you get elemental reactions. And you can quick swap like almost never, but like once a billion years. I think there's like one team somewhere out there, surely, hopefully, maybe, actually, no, probably not. And shielding allows you to not be staggered, and that's Zhongli, Kurara, Diona, Layla, and a few others, I think, somewhere there. Noelle, Beto, there's a few there. Beto is the one unit that can parry, or I think there's another one that's coming or something, I don't remember, but I think there was another one that can parry. Besides the point, Beto, like, has a very interesting kit. I think Beto, out of all of them, is probably the most, like, quote-unquote, deep, as people want to say. Right? Stat scaling in Genshin is very different. You've got a ton of EM and stuff, so sure. But the teams are like very limited, right? I'm sorry, but Nefer without Llama is just not fun, right? I'm not talking about not good. I'm talking about not fun, not enjoyable. It shit just doesn't like it's not fun. I'm sorry, right? Lunar charge reaction, same thing. Everything's locked to a 5-star, right? So it's not the best. I'm sorry. It's just as simple as that. Wanderer, for example, no Fars on C6. Lost as a C6 unit, by the way. Alright, huge loss if you can't C6 Fars on. And C6ing a 4-star in a gacha game is just so unbearable, right? I try and see other ways of combat like that are different, but I'm sorry, I don't see it. Next up, we got wuwa, and this is going to be quite a long list. Alright, we got E for the skill. We got R for the ultimate. We got Q for the echo skill. We got T for very special cases. I think there's like only 1 or 2, very, very rarely. But you can also grapple. By the way, there's grappling. You can grapple in combat. That's not deep combat. My bad. You're right. Sorry. Yeah, totally not deep. That you can actually grapple in combat. Take it in. Like, you can grapple within combat. But that's not useful. And the really important part for T was just also Rachia's echo, like, mini thingy that spins in Tornado, by the way. Enhanced heavy attacks exist when you fill the Forte bar. Somehow Genshin just doesn't have that. Jinshi exists. Jinshi has like double ultimate, or like a very, very big fat skill, and then her ultimate. You get coordinated attacks. As much as people say Yinlin's like fallen off, she has. Her damage is not able to like keep up. But she does do coordinated attacks. So does Jechi. So does a few other units in there, I'm sure. Okay? Intros, outros, pretty important. You got enhanced intros, like Shorekeeper, Lupa. I think there's a few others, right? There's double ultimates, which I kind of talked about with Jinshi, like Carlota has like the ultimate and then a secondary ultimate. Zani, ultimate and secondary ultimate. Carthea, ultimate and then a secondary ultimate. Like, she even has an ultimate form, at which you can swap in and out of to try and like maximize a solo. But no depth here. You've got enhanced E's that do like massive damage. For example, Brant. Lupa also has an enhanced E, right? I don't see any Genshin units doing that except like 1 or 2 maybe. I think like the most in-depth character type of thing was like Skirk. Yes, kind of. Skirk has no energy, so like Skirk seems to be one of those units that like, actually has like somewhat interesting kit. And Mavwika doesn't have energy, but she's just like ult and like spam normal attack and like being strong, and like it's just useless, honestly. Like, it's insane. Then we can also look at the fact that we have quick swaps, right? Brand, Carlota, we can have Brand, Lupa, Chanli, we can have Brand, Lupa, Galberna, we can have Lupa, Galberna, Chiwon, we can have Lupa, Chanli, and like, what's her name? Sanhua. It's so many units, but hey, there we are. Dodging, parrying, negative affix, air erosion, spectro frazzle. But elements don't have an effect, sure, but we still have an advantage. We do have things like that, right? Zani actually has a higher bar damage, okay? That's why you can defeat Lorelei in the if you beat Lorelei in like that hologram, she heals. So if you don't break it, you kill it, okay? That's like interesting, isn't it? For someone that, anyways, we're gonna get into like reasons why I'm explaining all this right now, later. Multiple teams for one unit, as I explained, Brand, Carthea, Chikona, so many things. There's so many different skills for each unit, it's kind of crazy. And then you've got dodge counters, dodge counter. Galbrena does extra damage with the dodge counter. Chiwon, extra damage with dodge counter. Every other unit also does a bit of extra damage, but like the multipliers are a bit smaller, right? Augusta has freezing time in her ultimate. Does a bunch of hits, and then slams down a freaking lightning rod that makes the ground freaking tremble. Are we serious? She flies on a griffin. Changli becomes a freaking phoenix. She becomes a bird. Zeshi has swans that she can teleport to. You see how different each of those things were? Okay, I guess the bird thing was like similar, but it's still so different because you're not teleporting with Changli. Changli has the 4 stacks of heavy attack. Each stack, like each little forte, takes away a bit of clothing and like, puts on like a blindfold and stuff, and like burns off clothing, puts on a blindfold. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, Chiwon gets drunk. Have you ever seen a Genshin character get drunk before and fight? Oh no, no. Okay, my bad. Anyways, even 4 stars have complex kits in wuwa. Crazy how that works, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure EQ and everything in the Genshin. Oh, wait, no. Genshin has the QEE by Chinchou when you have sack sword. My bad. Alright, anyways, 4 stars. Dungeon. Eats her HP to do more damage. Wow. As a 4 star. Lumi. She has 2 different E's that do different types of damage. Not elemental damage, but just different types of lightning damage. In different methods. Crazy how that works, isn't it? It's basically like one of those few units. Oh, there's so many ways I could say that 4 stars have interesting kit. Okay. Anyways, so the claims made by this person, this Flame of Shadow or something, Shadow of Flame, Plume of Death on Twitter, because I decided I would have fun today and enjoy some chaos. Anyways, what they say is that we, as in the community of wuwa, need to stop pretending that wuwa's combat is deep and unique. I never read anywhere that we said that. I'm just saying. What I saw was someone saying that the game has become a lot better since 1.0, and like there's some room to improve, but they've done super well with the combat. And apparently, that means that Genshin is more depth, because that makes sense. But hey, let's keep going with what they say. They also say that Genshin consistently adds things that change the way we approach enemies, regardless if you want to dumb it down to just mixing the pretty colors. Every Stygian reset, we find 10 different ways to play characters. Let's think about these different ways. One of them is using Gene and breaking the game by getting the person to like collide and have gravity affect them, because you're not strong enough to kill unless you have certain elemental capabilities like Lunar Charge and Lunar Bloom. Oh, but those 2 things are locked by 5-star units. Sorry, my bad, right? I'm not saying wuwa doesn't do this, because wuwa did do a bad job with that, right? Oh, never mind. Because technically, wuwa didn't. wuwa gives options. wuwa allows you to have Spectrofrasm. Yes, okay, no air erosion, that's true. But Spectrofrazzle's there. And honestly, I'm sorry, but if you're not going to get air erosion, then you're not getting cart. Okay? And Kartea can apply her own air erosion. So if you have too much skill issue to apply your own air erosion, that's on you. Okay? Womp womp. Okay? But this whole consistently adds things and like reset and we find 10 different ways to play characters. Bullshit. I'm sorry. That's just such a lie. Alright? Don't tell me things that are wrong. Alright? Genshin wants you to pull for your units, and if you don't pull for the units, you're cooked. Without Lunar Charge and without Bloom, you're cooked. Right? The bosses literally say Lunar Charge reactions will take down the shield. Lunar Bloom reactions, Lunar reactions will take down the shield. No 4-star gives it. So if you want to skip and get Columbina C6, you're done for. What if you don't like any of the Lunar stuff and you want to stay the way you are? What if you're a Nuvalet main and you just want to use UV? Too bad. Womp womp, you're cooked, you're done for. Okay? So all this stuff about, giving you new ways to play characters with like 10 pulls a patch. Sorry, 60 pulls a patch on average. Yeah, go check. There's 60 to 70 pulls a patch. wuwa at one point was giving almost 100 every single patch. I don't know like exactly how much they give now, but they were giving almost 100 every single patch. Genshin's given 100 like twice, maybe 3 times. I can't really remember, but that's what I remember from like seeing the data. 100, maybe 3 times in the 5 years that it's been out. But hey, 5-year-old game hasn't changed a bit. Hey, what? You know what? Moving on. They also say that we memorized enemies' movement and parry timings, and that's it. It's never gonna change, which is incorrect. There is a variable. You don't always get it right. The memorization isn't that easy. And they say it never changes, which is why you can no-hit bosses. Chat, we can no-hit bosses. Because we're allowed to dodge. Because we're allowed to parry. But in Genshin, there's none of that. So what is that point? That is such a bad point. Right? You're literally telling me, because you do not have the option to have this depth of a game, this depth to play a certain unit a certain way, because you can't do it, therefore, Genshin has more depth. Because it has less depth, it has more depth. But let's continue. They say, of course, character kits can be unique. Even combos, like with Augusta or Kartea. Once you learn to play the character in their respective teams, then that's all there is. No, sorry. Galberna works with Chiron and Lupa. But Galberna also works with Cantarella, Chiron, and Lupa. Lupa works with Galberna, Lupa, Zhengli. Right? Works with Carlota. But all these unique teams. But there are so many ways you can pair the units based off of their outro skills, intro skills, and the way they have synergy and the quick swap. And like, there's so many ways, but there's no depth in the combat. But Genshin, for Wanderer, there's only really one best in slot team. That's Bennett, Farzan, Freedom, and Wanderer. And if you get hit, you're dead. So you have to have a healer, generally speaking, or a very good healer, which we don't generally have. So keep thinking. Let me think. Arlecchino, you just E, and then you Zhongli shield, and then you like apply water, and you go boom. Yep, that's it. That's literally all you do. No other way you can like do anything special. And if someone's gonna say, oh, but you can like sprint cancel. You can also sprint cancel wuwa, right? Or dodge cancel, is that it? Yeah, you can dodge cancel wuwa as well. So like that's a moot point. Right? If you want to compare two games, compare it properly. Don't be dumb. Right? Variety is hand in hand in depth. Someone said this comment, and it was very interesting, and they explained how they're mixing variety. But here we are. This person responds with, variety is hand in hand with depth. Having a variety of options is a core part of depth, because Genshin has so many options. When the teams you run are really just only specific to one fucking set of units. But, besides the point, I guess, it's a common term to describe how intuitive a design is. Grapplers in fighting games would be considered as lacking depth, as their gameplay revolves around grabbing you. But we have grappling in wuwa, and that's not depth either, by the way. Even though you can use it in combat. Let's see, what else do they say? They also say that wuwa falls into that category because no matter how intuitive the character's kit is, the bosses all function the same. That's right, because Arsenosa can be beat just by parrying each attack. But you can parry every attack on just about any other boss, and you can't kill it. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? And it's not locked behind a unit. Wow. Crazy how that works. Thundering Memphis has 2 enemies. That other new enemy has like 3 freaking bosses that all have a shared pool of HP. Cartatea, big one that, like Fleur-de-Lis that has the black tide, dark tide, whatever, right? That one, not special at all. All it does, it inherits basically almost all the Septimonte character unique capabilities, implements it into her own kit, and uses it against us. But that's not unique either, by the way. That's everyone does that. All the bosses use attacks that our allies use, right? Yep. Okay. Checks out. Makes sense. Yeah. Hey, my bad. All right, and that's why it lacks depth. They say you can make the gameplay look as flashy as you want, but at the end of the day, you're doing the exact same thing as 100% of the players because there's no alternative option to kill bosses. All games want you to kill the boss. What do you mean? All games want it. Right? When you say that, it makes no sense. So explain that to me again next week when decision reset, and you're just not gonna kill the boss because that's not the point of the game, not to kill the boss, right? Okay. Anyways, wuwa players don't know what combat depth is, and then they proceed to say nothing about their definition of depth. Instead, they say it would be depth if Broadblade users could do more vibration damage, meaning swapping into them at the right time for parries gives an advantage. There is a bit more vibration damage when you parry. Doesn't mean everything. It would be depth if Gauntlet users could clash with bosses, temporarily stunning them. Holy, wow. Zani doesn't just do that. Like, you might as well have just taken a character's kit, put it in your words, and said, wuwa doesn't do that. Yep, dodging and burying is basic levels of combat depth. Ah, yes, but Genshin doesn't have it, so Genshin doesn't have combat depth. That's what you're saying. That is what you're implying. Okay? Every character in wuwa interacts with every enemy exactly the same. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. There's freezing units. There's time slow. Oh, we forgot about that, didn't we? Time slow, freezing. Goodness. Insane. Except pistols who can't parry. My bad. Chiakona can't parry. Yep. Totally can't parry. Yep. Yep. Carlotta can't parry. Yep. I'm so sorry. Yep. My fault, chat. For forgetting that those two can't parry. Genshin has less enemy interaction but more combat depth. Lies. What has less combat? What? Weapon types, elements, environment, etc. do not matter in wuwa. Bullshit. Weapon types matter. Okay? Range, they give you range, they do all these types of things, they let you freeze the unit. Pistols generally are able to be further back, alright? Swords are closer. Gauntlets, you generally have a bit more stunning capability, alright? Even though they say it's not happening, it is happening, okay? You got grouping, right? Wait, that's not me. I guess I'm just lying. That must be it. Anyways, environment doesn't affect shit in Genshin. Do you know why? Because in the endgame, there ain't no grass to burn, and there ain't no water that's falling from the sky called rain to vape off of. Right, so automatically you're cooked. Elements. Air erosion? Oh, arrow resistance against arrow enemies doesn't exist? Is that right? So why is it that there's 40% resistance on some of these freaking enemies? Oh, but the Havoc res doesn't exist, right? So when I'm fighting Heike with Camellia, my Camellia, that C6, doesn't do shit damage. No, she does pretty bad damage, guys. Matter of fact, she doesn't do good damage. Carlotta will do more, because there's less resistance. My bad. But elements do not have an effect in wuwa. Spectral Frazzle is fake. It's a dream only one can have. Yep. Havoc Bane doesn't exist. Right? Doesn't exist. Who cares about Havoc Bane? That's all fake. Fake news, you know? Oh, and by the way, Spectral Frazzle. Literally required for Zani. Her whole thought processes. You can absorb it, use it for her own skills. And she can time stop. Something Genshin has, by the way. So Genshin has time stop, okay? Please believe me, even though I'm lying to you, in front of your face. And they say, I know y'all want to be superior in Genshin, to Genshin in every possible way, but there's no universe in which wuwa has more combat. Where? How? How? Okay? Genshin has no freaking difference with weapon types. Where's the weapon type difference? Oh, you can shoot the enemy in the eye and stun him. Whoa. But guess what? All the animations for plunging are the same. Oh, but Veressa. You know, that's why I like Veressa. Because Veressa has one of those, like, unique things. A different plunging style. Game-changing. But wuwa, all their characters all plunge the same way. You know, they all just, like, twirl around a pole and plunge. Yep. That's wuwa, not Genshin. Right? Now, just trust me. Okay? Trust me, bro. That's my sword, right? You definitely have more skill impression and engaging gameplay, though, by far. Thank you for at least telling one part of the truth. Now, someone said very similar things, and I'm gonna kind of like go through it and say what they said, because why the fuck not? And they make some very... I'm gonna say what they said, and it makes sense, and it's good points. It's a bit like what I said, but it's a bit different. You memorize the enemy's moveset and parry timings, and that's it, was one of the points this person refuted. This person says, right, because I thought learning the moveset was kind of the point. In Genshin, you stand inside a glowing circle with a thumb in the middle. I wonder who that is. And your death chance drops by 90%. Whoa. You don't need to learn boss patterns. The fight usually comes down to a DPS check. Even in modes like Stygian, it's a DPS check. And if we're talking about clearing the bosses like Mexican Cactus, the thing with hats, all you have to do is learn his patterns. That's it. It's boring. That's the most boring fight. If you do not clear the hat with the electro charge shit, it's cooked. It's so boring. It's so stupid. It's such a useless mechanic. And all it does is take the time down. Okay? Once you learn how to play this is the second point. Once you learn how to play the character in a respective team, that's all there is. The combos never change, because anything else would be unoptimal. My man says, that sentence physically hurt to read. Of course, using the best combo makes everything unoptimal. Mind-blowing, let me go to school to learn that shit. That's what optimal means, and this guy was cooking hard, dude. And since when does Genshin even have characters with actual combo variety? And they explain it. Neuvillette, enter, burst, E, hold, click, boom. Chaska, enters E, click, burst, again, same pattern. Kinish, enter, burst, E, click, sure, he spins around in a circle, but like, let's be honest, it's the exact same shit. Mualani, enter, E, click, runs out of her freaking whale thingy like shark, and it's just cooked. It's not even fun. The only recent release with a somewhat unique playstyle is Mavuika, which is so boring. You ult, you basic attack, you ult, basic attack. And Skirk. This is my own point though, they didn't add Skirk. I'm gonna add Skirk though because I'm nice. Skirk has a pretty fun-ish playstyle. And the support's all useless, let's be honest. Like, they're not useless, it's just not much uniqueness. And if you're referring, this is the third part, if you're referring to those Stygian tricks like Jean to make a boss die, oh, this is the part I was speaking about. Okay, I see. Die from fall damage and acting like that's peak gameplay, then bro, you have to be joking. Damn right, thank you. This person, the name is Arbiter Shikikan, alright? That's who I got it from. They have some really good points. They have a brain screwed onto their head. That was quite a good refute from this person. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the combat in the background. There's a pretty big difference between EQ, and E and normal attack, versus being able to do 6 different freaking teams for 1 unit in what? But hey, signing out for now. See y'all later. Thank you for listening.